Hi guys, I hope this finds you all safe and well at this time. I'm delighted to have the opportunity to have a chat with you about my team's forecast on some of the food and beverage trends that we see coming through in the future. I'm delighted to support Gates Hospitality and this fabulous initiative of homeschooling, and a big congrats to you guys for taking the time to spend some time online and improve your knowledge of the industry. So well done for that, super proud of you. So first of all, how do you spot food and beverage trends? Well, one way is to simply go on the internet on a search engine and search food and beverage trends. Another interesting way is to go on Instagram and other social media platforms and follow chefs, mixologists, baristas, brands, restaurant and bar brands, and actually follow them, and you'll see some really interesting posts and information there. And when you start to see something coming up quite regularly, you can start to identify food and beverage trends that way. Another way, naturally, is to read industry publications, follow industry people on LinkedIn, visit local restaurants and bars in your cities and towns, if you have the opportunity to, and also speak to other industry professionals and share knowledge and information. If you have the opportunity to attend industry events, a lot of cities run free food and beverage industry events, or often events where if you're part of the food and beverage industry, you can get very reduced rate tickets, entry prices, or indeed free if you register in advance. So those are some of the simple ways that you can research food and beverage trends. What do myself and my team want to share as some of the trends that we see coming up? Some of them are pretty micro and may grow further, and some are already becoming quite mainstream. So without further ado, some of the beverage trends we see. One of the trends that we see is the growth in plant-based dairy alternatives. So, think almond milk, oat milk are becoming more and more mainstream, and it's great that a lot of the big coffee brands are now offering these alternative plant-based dairy products at no extra charge. Another trend is we're seeing what we're calling farm to shaker beverages. So think about drinks using table scraps, extra vegetables, or unwanted bits and bobs. And we see earthy G&Ts, cocktails full of trimmings, and Prosecco fermented with fennel. This also plays into, the sustainable and making sure that we don't waste any food product, even in the sphere of beverage making. The world has seen the first launch of the first colourless coffee from a brand called Clear Coffee. So this brand claims to tackle the problem of potential teeth straining from traditional coffee, and it still provides the great taste and consumption of coffee. One yet I'm to try. We all know we've seen the increase in millennials and Gen Z consumers moving away from low alcohol or cocktail 2.0. We're calling it the sober scene. So, think alternatives for gin and tonics, botanical infused for spirits, and faux martinis. The important element here is, to make sure that your bartenders are using modern techniques when making the drinks. The importance of presentation is key here to make the drink more appealing. Also, you want it to be incredibly Instagrammable. And also, an area to think about is the non-alcoholic training of your bar team. Another area we see is the rise of sour beers and organic wines. So, following the popularity of hazy and juicy IPAs, we see high alcohol kombuchas as a beer alternative, Also the growth in natural wines, biodynamic wines, think orange wines, and also natural sparkling wines. In line with the rise in low and no, or as we called it, the sober scene, we're also seeing drinks becoming highly garnished. Think blooming botanicals, think berries, think floral, think strong visual and a multi-sensory experience. These are providing beautiful drinks that are highly Instagrammable and also, providing a multi-sensory drink experience, and this is only going to grow. So again, it's very much about think of your glassware, your presentation and your training techniques of your bar team. Also, we talked about the low and no, and we know that, health is paramount, and the rise of the health conscious consumer. So another area is drinks, drinks that help, that are digestive, are healthy for your digestive and your gut. So, we're seeing fermented products, probiotic products, and, prebiotic beverages becoming more popular. Kombucha is one of the most popular fermented beverages and has gained some widespread appeal in the past few years. Move over the espresso martini. This is a trend that we're calling the espresso tonic and cold brew with a kick. So think, things like espresso tonic, so where we see coffee mixed with other mixers potentially becoming more popular. And also we see the continued growth of the nitro coffee on tap and cold brew alternatives. Believe it or not, a brand has launched the alcoholic water, so hard sparkling water, a brand called Mike's. We see this potentially becoming an alternative for people that are looking for something refreshing in that sphere, in the alcoholic drink sphere, but also it's very low calorie count. Spritzers, we see light refreshing spritzers continuing to grow and continuing to be a very popular trend. So that's kind of some of the beverage trends that we see coming up. So now, what about food trends? So we all know that plant-based dining is continuing to grow stronger and stronger. Alternative meats, veganism, and the flexitarian diet. These, we know that specialised diets and wellness are not going anywhere, and we see these continuing to grow and grow. But what other food trends are out there for the consumer? Well, zero waste continues to be top of environmentally conscious and sustainably conscious consumers. So we're seeing chefs and restaurants looking at, composting and avoiding wastage and purchasing food and reduced packaging in a way to make sure that kitchens are moving to a zero waste trend in 2020 and beyond. We've all seen the rise of brands such as Beyond Burger, Moving Mountains, and we certainly see, plant-based meat alternatives as becoming more and more mainstream in restaurants and bars' menus. We see a trend that we're calling menu without borders, so where combining two or more different cuisines into one-of-a-kind culinary treats. So not the traditional fusion menus we've seen over the years, but consumers are looking for something more out of the normal to try. So, think Mexican and Southeast Asian fusion, or French Scandinavian, and even Chinese Peruvian. And that's a trend that the team are calling menus without borders. We know that alternative diets are becoming more and more mainstream, so restaurants and bars are responding by including vegan, flexitarian, paleo and other dietary requirements in their mainstream menus. An interesting trend that we've seen is alternative tacos. So no longer limited to the tortilla or savoury recipes, we're seeing tacos showing up at breakfast in trendy restaurants across the country. Tacos are shedding their shell for new kinds of wrappers and fillings. So think seaweed wrappers with sushi fillings. In line with, the zero waste strategy and consumers becoming more and more environmentally conscious, we're seeing the rise of chefs advocating the use of wonky vegetables and reducing waste by using all the crop rather than the just traditional pristine shaped fruit and vegetables. Wood-fired. This trend has been growing for some time and shows no sign of going away, so expect to see chefs around the world bringing the heat with rustic, wood-fired cuisine designed to satisfy the meat-loving consumers and foodies out there still. I mentioned Beyond Meat and moving mountains and protein-based burgers. We're also seeing, finless foods, so protein-based products such as tuna making an entry into the food scene. A trend that we're calling locavore. So we know that there's been a real push over the years, again, along the sustainable and reducing carbon footprint, supporting local farmers, supporting local produce. But we're calling a trend called locavore, and we're seeing consumers become more and more hyper-local, looking for product that's grown within their communities. So expect more and more restaurants to follow up on the locally sourced food and beverage trend that is becoming stronger and stronger. Another trend we see, has been popular for some time and isn't going nowhere, is fried chicken. Expect fried chicken in sandos and in the form of sandwiches and burgers. A trend that's really, really strong and doesn't necessarily show signs of diminishing. One big trend that's making its impact is fermentation. So think of old favourites like sauerkraut, organic Indian fermented pickles, and kimchi. Is making a return with lesser known products like kombucha. Fermentation is making a real comeback with chefs and restaurants alike. Fermentation is a natural process which plays well into consumers' desires to avoid the consumption of unnecessary additives and preservatives. So again, think digestive gut, think health, think waste reduction, and think some of the interesting earthy tones in beverages I talked about earlier. We know that a big trend is snacking goes healthy. The supermarket shelves are becoming more and more packed with great options to traditional snacking, and we see the healthy snacking trend becoming bigger and bigger as consumers look to indulge but also maintain a balanced and healthy lifestyle. We know that superfoods are now commonplace, and we see more and more upcoming healthy items on menus. A trend we see is what we're calling the preset healthy bowls. So we know that consumers are becoming more and more used to ordering preset bowls in restaurants or online. But also think restaurants are now stretching themselves in this area to make these bowls more and more interesting and more healthy. So think about the introduction of natural yeast, collagen peptides and seaweed. We're seeing these products coming more and more into the preset healthy bowl market. Also we can think of in these healthy bowls, gut healthy probiotics, pickled vegetables, poke, infused vinegars and fermented dairy products popping up in these bowls. That's a small introduction to some of the global but perhaps lesser known food and beverage trends that myself and my team believe are ones to watch. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it gives you something to go and research a little bit further and think about. Please feel free to DM me at ladybanks_ or follow me on LinkedIn, and I hope that was interesting. I wish you all well and take care. Bye.